webcast will review the requirements for Item 22, Indicator 5.1 of the ECERS-R. There are often questions about the requirements of this indicator, which requires enough blocks, space, and accessories for 3 children to build sizable, independent structures. More information about this indicator is found in the Notes for Clarification on page 45 of the ECERS-R, and also the NC Additional Notes available at ncrlap.org. Fundamentally, what should be kept in mind is that this is a high standard at the good level of quality. The expectation is for 3 large structures because preschool children are capable of planning and building large, complex block structures, and this type of play has many developmental benefits. First, let's discuss the size of the block area. The requirement is that the block area provides at least 6 by 9 feet or equivalent dimensions of open space for building, unless it is observed that children experience difficulties when building in the space, and in that case, more space would be required. This slide and the following slide demonstrate common examples of block areas that do not offer enough space for complex building or room for children to move around their structures to get additional blocks or accessories from the shelves. Small block areas can lead to frustration as buildings get knocked over unintentionally. If children have limited chances to build in an interrupted manner, they may become less likely to attempt to do this again. Even though slightly larger than the first example, this is another block area that does not offer enough space for building 3 large structures. Consider the difference of the next 2 slides, which show block areas that are easily large enough to meet the requirements of Indicator 5.1. Think about what these areas offer in terms of play potential and skill development compared to the previous slides. With the additional space offered in this area and the block area shown in the previous slide, the potential for complexity and different types of building is greatly expanded. Indicator 5.1 requires that there are enough blocks for at least 3 children to build sizable structures. In terms of the quantity of blocks required, the NC Additional Note states that for traditional unit blocks like those seen here, 80 to 100 blocks would be required to build 1 structure. For block sets that are larger than unit blocks, 40 to 60 blocks are required to build a structure. Again, the requirement is enough blocks so that 3 children could build sizable structures at the same time. This could be accomplished by having 3 sets of unit blocks or a combination of unit blocks and larger blocks. Here, the first image represents what seems to be a common expectation for preschool children's abilities, but this is actually a small structure. The structure on the left includes 30 unit blocks. The structure on the right uses approximately 130 blocks. Think about the differences in these 2 images and what children can do when given the opportunity. Indicator 5.1 also considers whether or not there are enough accessories for use by at least 3 children in the block area. Typically, centers have a large amount of accessories rather than too few. Accessories are intended to support block play and to be used in conjunction with blocks. This means that accessories should be sized to use with the type of blocks offered. So a very large truck used with unit blocks could result in a lot of blocks being driven around and dumped, but does not necessarily stimulate much building. However, smaller vehicles lend themselves well to building a town with roads or a nice parking structure. Remember that large doll houses or items like workbenches or a large train table tend to be an activity all on their own rather than a companion to block play. These are not considered to be block accessories, and often having these items in the block area can prevent Indicator 5.3 in Item 22 from earning credit if the requirements for a special block area are not met. Different themes will appeal to different children, so having a variety of accessories may stimulate interest in the block area. Consider that instead of having a large bin of mini trucks, a few small bins of animals, people, signs, and cars might draw different children into the area. At the same time, remember to make sure that the accessories actually accessorize block play. When there are more accessories than blocks, the area tends to become a dramatic play area rather than an area for building. Over the years, it seems that sometimes expectations are too low for preschool children and their block play. Perhaps this is because of the expense of wooden blocks or less awareness as to the potential that preschool children have for creativity and experimentation. Preschool children are capable of building large and complex structures, and this helps them develop and use appropriate motor and reasoning skills. Remembering the value of block play may further help justify making improvements to a block area. Some of the positive developmental outcomes related to block play include various types of math learning, spatial awareness, knowledge of balance and mass, critical thinking and problem-solving skills, creativity, possibilities for pro-social and planning skills, and the list could go on and on. However, we often hear concerns that children wouldn't use that many blocks or don't need that much space. But it's unclear whether this is the case when children have never had the opportunity to do so. In our experience, we do see children building amazing structures and having great experiences when provided with large block areas that include many, many blocks and a variety of accessories. When thinking about complex block play, it is also important to recognize that it takes uninterrupted time to fully use the area or opportunities to continue building structures over different play periods. Teacher interest and engagement in the block area may also help children develop an interest, realize their plans, and use new skills. So it is important to avoid underestimating the role that teachers play in enhancing the use of a block area. This concludes our webcast for Item 22, Indicator 5.1. Please remember to review the NC additional notes regarding the block area and contact NCRLAP if you have questions.